What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Perfect Match Podcast. I'm your host, Ray Molina, and this is episode 113. You guys heard the intro. That was an intro and a quote from Kobe Bryant. And this episode is about whatever it takes. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. It's been probably a week or two since I've checked in with you guys. I have been extremely busy, extremely under the gun, but I am here. I'm alive. I'm well. I'm healthy. And I'm as good as it can be. You know what I mean? Give me 1 second. Um, Trying to get better at not drinking coffee at night. Although I was in Reno last weekend and I had probably the best Vietnamese coffee that I've had ever at a restaurant at like, I don't know, I want to say 12 midnight. And it was amazing. But I'm trying to be better at not drinking coffee and things that have that'll keep you up all night, like that have caffeine and whatnot. So what I'm drinking tonight is I've got some lemon and honey hot water. Just feel like it'll cool me, calm my throat down a little bit. That's the other thing. I came back from Nevada, and I forgot they smoke in the venues out there. So I was having breathing problems the entire time I was there. I was coughing. I was when I was sleeping, I'd have to wake up and I was wondering why my throat was sore. It wasn't sore like sick sore, but it was just sore. And I realized because I was walking around and people were smoking around me. And it's been years since I've been around people who smoke. So it had an effect on me. So uh this lemon honey water is helping my throat right now. Anyways, like I said, I hope you guys are doing well, man. I have been doing so many different things that uh probably a lot of people um wouldn't do at my age. Now, you know, I have been bouncing a few different ideas around what I want to talk about on this episode. I wanted to get away from what I had recently been talking about just because I feel like I don't want to be a dead horse. You know what I mean? And I feel like I said my piece. I said what I needed to say, and that's the end of that. So I wanted to get on to something that's been going on in my life um, that has been pushing me to get uncomfortable again. And I've talked to you guys about being comfortable, living your life and being comfortable. You know what I mean? And how comfort can kill you. So what I've been doing recently is a bunch of stuff that has made me feel extremely uncomfortable, but I needed to do it. I needed to push myself. Things have been I think they are for everybody. I think things are financially tough for a lot of people, most people right now. Um, I I mean, I know a few people that are millionaires. They if I introduced you to them, you probably wouldn't even realize they were millionaires. But I can tell you that aside from those guys, and even those guys will tell you, business is a little slow now, and they're having to make sure that they stay on point and whatnot, and make sure they keep a bag for a rainy day. They'll tell you it's tough right now. But for most people, like myself and maybe you that are listening, we're trying to make sure that we're keeping above water right now because things are really financially tough. Gas is crazy. It seems like the price on everything that you go to buy at the grocery store is nuts. Uh, you know, um, we've got our everyday bills. You know what I mean? Some of us have mortgages, some of us have rent. If you're like me, my rent has been raised twice over the last year and a half, not by a substantial amount, but in these times, anytime your rent gets raised, you're like, I gotta find a way to squeeze that extra amount of money out of my monthly bills. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at right now. There's just a lot of things that are coming up. My kids' baseball tournaments. They need a lot of stuff for school. There's just a lot of stuff. I'm trying to get myself out of debt. Now, when I tell you guys I'm in debt, I say I'm in debt anytime you owe any type of money. Now, my debt is not really extreme. I'm not one of those people that carries 20, $30,000 in debt and more. I said that, and probably some of you guys are like, I wish that was my debt. I'm talking about my debt is less than that, but I'm still not happy about being in debt at all. So I'm trying to do all the things to get myself right in that sense so I can get back on track with everything else that I'm trying to do. So this podcast is about whatever it takes. Now, I've talked about this topic a few different times on a few different episodes, and I talked about how being a man, one of your jobs is to make sure that you're a provider, make sure that you're taking care of your stuff, make sure that you're keeping your house in order, right? I like that. I heard that term probably about 3 years ago, and it grew on me, and I just love that term, get your house in order, because that's true. If you are a man, you should be getting your house in order. What that means is not your I mean, yeah, your physical house, but I mean, that means your bills, that means your fitness, that means your spirit, that means your mind, that means your family, that means uh preparing for a rainy day, that means preparing for if something goes haywire, like another pandemic. That means having your house secure and set, so when any of these things happen, you are not only financially ready, you're physically ready, mentally ready, spiritually ready, and you are armed. You have a surplus of food, you have supplies, you have all these things, and your house is in order. So I have been working my butt off to do that, because I'm the type of person, when I feel like my house isn't in order, I feel guilty. And the reason why I say I feel guilty is because I talk about doing certain things as a man. And when I feel like I'm starting to slip up, I feel guilty when I talk about it. And then I'm over here having certain issues. Now, granted, we're all human. Everybody slips up. Everybody takes their foot off the gas for a little bit. And it's very important that when you catch yourself doing that, you get yourself back on that, back on track, and get back to it. And that's what I've had to do recently. Now, a lot of if you listen, I've turned 49, and I'll tell you what, man, there are things that change when you turn 49. It was almost like my body said, "Hey, by the way, we're tired." And it was kind of weird, because it was almost like a switch went off, because my workouts after that day that I maxed, and I shared that with you guys, that on my birthday I try to hit a new max every year, and that's what I hit. This year I hit I want to say 265. 265 was my max this year. And but it seems like every workout after that was like pulling teeth, man. It was difficult. And I don't know if it was me telling myself, man, you're a year older, and or if it was just my body saying, hey, man, we're going to have to switch things up. So I have been telling myself, okay, when you get to the gym, there are days that you want to lift heavy. Okay. And then there are days where you just want to do workouts that are the basic things that you take for granted. Like, for instance, today I went into the gym. I didn't do any weightlifting. I did kettlebells. And what I did was basic movements. Okay. I did where I notice now in my older age that when I'm working, when I bend over to grab something, or when I kneel down to pick something up, I'm still able to do it, no problem, but I do feel it. Okay. So what I did when I went to the gym today was I put the kettlebell down, and I did a series of being on both knees, grabbing the kettlebell, lifting with one leg, standing up, and then standing up with my next leg, and then bending at my hips, putting it down on the floor, and then kneeling back down, and then picking it back up. So to anybody watching, some people might be, what is that workout good for? But to anybody who's my age knows exactly what that workout's for. It's to keep these things these movements that we take for granted. It's to keep them strong, keep your balance strong, keep your I don't know the perfect terminology because I'm not a trainer, but um, it's to keep all of the things that you take for granted, all the movements that you do every day, it's to keep them strong, keep your body strong in them. From that point, I did another workout where I grabbed the kettlebell, reached down, grabbed it, lifted over my head, and then brought it back down, put it down, and then I reached down with my other arm, same thing. A lot of movements where I'm lifting, putting down, picking back up, squatting down, getting back up from my knees and standing up straight, holding a kettlebell. All of these things are things that I noticed my body feeling a little different when I'm doing. So I've been doing a lot of work outside recently, and I've been paying attention. Like when I go over, oh, I need to go grab this tool, or I need to kneel down and hammer this thing in. I notice my body feels a little different when I'm doing that. So I said, when I go to the gym, I'm going to start doing workouts that are something along those lines to where I can make sure that I'm staying on point and these don't be, me kneeling down and reaching for something doesn't start to become a problem. You know what I mean? Now that was a problem for me years ago when I was a super fat boy. All right, because I couldn't get my belly out of the way and I couldn't breathe and I couldn't get past my belly to tie my shoe, or I couldn't get past my belly to pick something up. That's when it was a problem. Now it's a function problem. And it's not a huge problem, but I'm old. I'll be 50 next year. And my body's telling me, hey man, these movements they're a little bit more difficult now. So make sure that you're doing them and you're working on them, and don't forget about them. Don't just go in the gym and act like a gorilla and start throwing a bunch of weights around and forgetting, hey, there's some movements that you do every day that are going to start becoming more difficult. So that's what I've been doing. I wanted to share that with you guys because all of this is tying into, you know, a lot of what I'm doing right now. Like, you know, this episode per se is not about doing whatever it takes in the gym, but doing whatever it takes to stay healthy and active and young. Yeah, that's what I've been doing in the gym to maintain, to make sure that I'm on point. Now, here's the other thing. I talk about, working for myself a lot. And anybody who's listening who's an entrepreneur who has tried to start a business, maybe you failed 100 times like I have. And I wouldn't even say I failed. I've succeeded at a lot of things. So maybe failure in some people's eyes, but I've succeeded at a lot of things. But what I'm saying is maybe you're listening and you've been working for yourself for a while. Maybe you haven't made $1 million off of what you've been doing, but you've made a living to where you have no boss. You you wake up every morning and you do what you love. Maybe you're not a rich man off of it or a rich woman off of it, but you are making a living and you are surviving, and that is success to you. I view that as success because anytime you can provide for your family, provide for yourself, and you don't have a boss, you know, tinkering on your head, talking about how come you've been late to the office and they're going to let you go and blah blah blah. I view that as a success. Now, bouncing off of that, there is a stubborn factor that comes with that too. Now, there are a lot of times where, you know, when you are an entrepreneur and you are, whether you're running a clothing line or whether you're a graphic designer, whatever it is you're doing, real estate, whatever, it slows down. And the old me, when things would slow down for me, I would get stressed out and I would curl up and I mean, pretty much throw in the towel, to be honest. And I can't do that no more. I'm not that guy anymore. So I've gotten to a point now when I notice that what I'm doing for my income is slowing down, or it's not paying the bills as fast as I want it to or as it should be. I don't wait anymore. I start getting proactive. I start making phone calls. I start tapping shoulders of friends who are other entrepreneurs who have their own business. I start doing all these things. Why? Because I know that the money's just not going to fall in my hands. Okay. The things that my kids need are not just going to magically appear. The things that I need are not going to just magically appear. I have to make sure that I am on my job, whether my business is slow or not. And if my business is slow, I need to be able to drop my pride and say, you know, I always told myself, if I get in a jam, I'm not gonna have too much pride. I am going to do whatever it takes to make sure that I do not fail. So that is what's been going on with me. And I know that it's resonating with people because I've had more than a few people message me on my Instagram, which is probably the most uh, where I'm the most active on social media. Instagram is where I'm socially active. So I get a lot of messages recently over the last few weeks of people asking me like, man, you're doing this, I've never seen you do that. When did you start doing that? Or, or yo, whose company is that? I mean, are they hiring and all this stuff? And I get it. I know why people are asking me that, and I love it because that tells me you're on the same thing I am, because a few of the people that have messaged me are people who have their own businesses. And I know they're like me. Hey, man, things are slow. I'm not making the money I used to off my business. I don't know if it's right just because of what's going on right now. I don't know if that's for good. I'm hoping it picks back up, but I don't know. But I got this mortgage. I got these kids. I got to pay the bills. I got to do something. And what that tells me when you message me is you are trying to do whatever it takes to stay above water. I respect that. I 100% respect that. What a lot of people struggle with, especially men, excuse me, is we struggle with dropping our pride, uh, uh, because we don't want to look like failures. We don't want to look like we gave up. But when you have little eyes looking at you, watching you, I think that all goes out the window. I think that's where you say, you know what? I got I got kids watching me, and they need to see that when things get slow, dad's going to flip the switch and I'll become something else for however long I need to become that other thing until this other thing that I really love doing kicks back in. Okay. No one's telling you to give up your dream. No one's telling you to give up the hobby that you love, that you hope becomes your everyday, that pays all your bills and pays for your family vacations. No one's telling you to give that up. All right. That's the one thing I had to learn. I felt like anytime I had to deviate from what I really love doing and someone was trying to help me, like, hey, why don't you come do this for a month or two, until that picks back up, I almost felt like they were disrespecting me. And that was pride. That was the old me, telling myself, I don't need to go over and do that with them. I'm not going to go do that thing. I'm going to stay here and I'm going to thug it out and I'm going to get through this. And that's great when you're single, when you don't have kids that are depending on you, when you don't have a wife that's depending on you, when you don't have a mortgage or rent or a car note and all these things. But when you have all those things, your mentality needs to shift, because now you're not just looking out for you. Now you have other people depending on you to be successful. And if what you're doing for your business is not popping at the moment, then you need to pivot. You need to do whatever it takes. So that's what I've been doing. So recently, if you've been watching my Instagram, you've noticed that I've been sharing a few things that I've been doing, and I'm very candid. I always tell you guys, I reference this podcast. I'm pointing to, right, hold on. I'm still trying to learn. Pointing to the podcast right there, over there. Anyways, if you're on YouTube, I'm trying to point to my logo. There it goes. I got it right. All right. The podcast is called The Perfect Mess. It's about my life. So I don't really have any shame sharing the things that I'm going through in my life. This is what the podcast is about. It's not a sports broadcast. It's not a Joe Rogan podcast. I love Joe Rogan. I love sports podcasts. It's not any of these podcasts. It's literally a podcast that is about my life, about being a father, a strong man, and basically my journey back to becoming what I should have been years ago. All right. And I share with you all of these things because I feel like there are more people out there that are dealing with this, especially men that have no answers, that don't think other people are dealing with it, or if they do, no one's talking about it. So when I go on my Instagram and I show a photo of me vacuuming an office or spraying a solution on carpets, I tell you a story of why I'm doing that. I tell you a story that this is my brother Rob's business, that he's an entrepreneur, that this business is his. He's made a lot of money doing it. He started from scratch and he's been doing it for years. When I share that I'm doing uh, baby barrier fences, which are fences that go around backyard pools to protect kids from falling or jumping into the pool and drowning. When I show you that I'm, installing these fences, it's not because I've been doing it for years. It's because that's a business that my brother Ben has had for over 20 years that is successful, and that he's opened the door and said, "Hey, if you need some to supplement your income while things are a little slow, I got you. Come over here." All right. Anytime I need you, as long as you tell me you're open, I'm gonna text you and say, "Hey, I got something tomorrow. I got something Thursday. 2 jobs. You want to come with me?" Boom, I'm in. Or Rob message me, "Hey, I got a client I got to do this Friday. It's a 5-hour job. You want in?" Boom, I'm in. Whatever it takes. Now, I share these things on my Instagram, not because I want to show you that, hey, I'm the man. Look, I can do these fences and I can also do these carpets. No, I'm sharing you with you guys, and I'm telling you on the podcast because these aren't my businesses. These are things that I am learning. These are things that I have never done that they are teaching me. I've never put in a pool fence before. Never, not once in my life. But I went out of my way and got out of my comfort zone. And I reached out to my brother Ben and I said, "Look, Ray, you're going to have to drop your pride. You're going to have to pick the phone up, and if things are slow for you, you're going to have to start checking in with other people that have businesses to see if you can learn something, if you can learn and make some money while you're doing it." And that's what it took for me. Send that text or pick up that phone and say, "Hey, man, hey, things are a little slow right now for me. If you got anything, I'd be willing to come over and learn. If you need an extra hand on any of your jobs, I'm just letting you know I'm open. If you need me, message me. Let me know. We'll work it out. However, I just need to keep things moving. I got bills to pay. I got kids to feed. I got all these things coming up that I got to pay for." Boom. I got you, bro. Same thing with Rob. Got the carpet business. Got so many clients doing huge companies, doing lawyer offices, doing all these things, man. Send them a message. "Hey, if you ever need a free hand, someone to come help you out on one of these jobs, things are slow on my business right now. Dropping my pride, man. I wanna learn something new. If you're willing to teach me, I'm willing to come out and help." Boom. More opportunities. Now these guys are opening their doors to teach me a new trade. Not to take over a business, not to do any of that, but they're teaching me a new trade, showing me how to do what they've been doing for years. I don't know if it means I'm going to branch off and help them and maybe have, my own van with Rob's company, or help Ben and maybe move to another city and start, my own chapter of what Ben has created. I don't know that, but I'm open to the possibilities. I'm open to learning. And when I share these things on my social media, I also share them with my kids because I want my kids to understand dad's pushing 50 and he's still learning new things. Dad's pushing 50 and he's still doing whatever it takes to make sure that we have everything that we need. Because life isn't perfect, man. You know, life isn't perfect. You know, even if you have let's say you went to college, you got a degree and you have this career, there are still layoffs. There are still dips in that industry. I know, man. I can't. I came from that industry. I used to do desktop support. I worked at the help desk. I started the assembly floor. Did all these things. And one thing I learned is those industries get hit hard. So regardless of your degree, regardless of any of that, you still can get hit and put in a situation to where you might have to do something that has nothing to do with your degree just to keep the bills paid. You may have to do whatever it takes. I have met more people that have degrees that are doing something that has nothing to do with their degree. Why? Because the business or whatever job or whatever career they had tanked. Not because of them, because the industry that they were in just isn't and wasn't doing well. And they don't know if it's ever going to come back. So the mentality of, being open-minded and wanting to learn, that is very important. If I could give you any advice, you need to be like, I love that saying by Bruce Lee, where he says you need to be like water. Water becomes whatever it's around. You put it in a cup, it becomes the cup. Like, you need to be like water. That's important. If I give you any advice, you have to be able to adapt, and you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to get to your end goal. Now, that used to mean a whole different thing to me a long time ago. That used to mean, what I got to do? Sell drugs? What does that mean? I got to do this? What does that mean? I got to steal this? What do I mean? Like, like that's what that term used to mean to me. Whatever it takes. Okay, that means I'm taking penitentiary chances. No, that's not what I'm talking about. So if you're listening, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying do whatever it takes within legal means to get yourself above water and to stay above water, not just for you, but for your family. Okay. Now, I I'm so appreciative of the friends that I have that have their businesses that have been opening their doors to help me do this. That it has inspired me to continue doing what I'm doing still. I'm still doing, my own thing, my website. I'm still doing the podcast. I'm still designing my clothing lines and this and the shirts and hats and stuff that I have on my website. I'm still doing all these things in hopes that eventually they pop off. I don't know. Or in hopes that everything that I'm doing aside from that will help me fund to get this thing off the ground even more. I don't know. We'll see. Now, this is not easy. I know I'm talking to you and it sounds really easy. It's not easy, okay? Because maybe you're listening to me and you're saying, "Well, Ray, I don't have friends that have a business like that I can just call and they can just have me work with them a few days a week." Okay? Well, here's something I'm going to share with you. Then you need to start getting online and you need to start throwing your resume around looking for part-time work. Now, I say part-time because I'm an entrepreneur. I told myself the last time I got laid off in 2012, I will never, ever sell my soul to a corporation again. Never. They are not going to take, 8 to 10 hours of my day every day and then possibly my weekends because they want me to work overtime. And then I'm going to be so tired, I'm not going to be able to do what I need to do. And that is to do my podcast, to run my website, to design my clothes, to coach baseball, to coach my kids, to train my kids, to have weekends with my children. They're not going to take all that away from me. So if you're like me, the next thing you do is, if you don't have friends like that who have businesses that you can go and call them and say, hey, I need some work, man. So if I can work with you a few days a week, if you could do it, cool. If you don't have those friends, then you need to get your resume straight, just get it all straight, set up, and you need to get online. You need to put that thing up, and you need to be very specific what you're looking for. Okay. Part-time work, and make sure you know the hours that you want to work. All right. And when they ask you, you got to stay firm in it, because a lot of companies will contact you and they will say, well, no, I can't do that. I can do part-time, but I need you to work 6 p.m. to 1 in the morning, 4 days a week. And no, that's just not going to work. For someone like me, that ain't going to work. All right. So what I did, and I'm sharing this with you, is I put my resume everywhere. My resume is always up. Like, it's up on Indeed. I even, I have it to where I can send it to someone on Craigslist. I have it to where I can send it to someone on OfferUp. And I know you're going, what do you mean? Yes, Craigslist has a job section. OfferUp has a job section. So I have it on all these things to where it's, it can be sent or whatever. So I am constantly getting emails from businesses, small business owners that are looking for someone who will do part-time work. I don't always reply, but recently I did. Recently I did reply to somebody. Someone messaged me and said, hey, are you still looking for part-time work? And I said, sure. What's the details? And they told me what the details were. And it was something that I had done years ago. And I said, okay. And they said, what hours are you looking for? And I said, well, I'm a single father. I take my kids to school, and sometimes they get out early and I need to be available to pick them up because their mom has more of a corporate type jobs. Yes, she's flexible, but not always. So she has a more of a corporate type job. I need to be able to be flexible. So I'm looking for something that's, 20 to 25 hours a week, something like 9 or 10 a.m. start, and out of there by 1 or 2 o'clock. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm looking to be paid X amount. If you can do that, I'm all ears. Let's talk. You hear how I just presented that? I had my terms. The beautiful thing about having options is you don't have to tuck your tail when you get these emails. You can basically say what you're looking for respectfully. And if they can't do it, then you just walk. You continue doing what you're doing. But this company, this little small, I think they have like 8 employees, said, beautiful. Yeah, we can accommodate that. When can you come in so we can meet you? I can come in tomorrow. Went over there, and they're extending me an offer, I think either tomorrow or next week, and potentially have another part-time gig. Now, I asked this person, is this like a month thing that you need, or is this however long I want to do it, or is this a contract thing where you're like, I only need you for 3 months and then you're gone? The guy says, no, actually, I mean, if this could be a long-term thing, it's up to you. So if you like it here, we'd love to have you here for as long as you want to be here. Another great thing. See, the cool thing about this is this: with those hours, I can still do everything that I need to do. Okay. I can still wake up in the morning, take my kids to school. I can still wake up early in the morning, go to the gym for 30, 45 minutes, take my kids to school, then clock in, bang out a few hours at this job, and I'm out by 1, 2 o'clock, and I can pick up my kids from school if I need to. If their mom has her work schedule is busy that day, and she messages me like, "Hey, I can probably get them, but if I could stay at this meeting a little bit longer, that would be great. Could you get them?" I have that flexibility. So whether I go pick my kids up that time or she picks them up, I'm able to go do what I do with my furniture, do what I do with my podcast, do what I do with my website. Or if I want to go and do deliveries and make some more money, I can go do that and have my freedom there. But that's what I'm talking about. That is what's been going on in my life recently, whatever it takes. I've I've told myself, you tell people all the time, you have to drop your pride. You have to not make excuses when things are not going the way that you hoped that they would go. And you have to say, I tell people all the time, you got to be strong. You got to be a strong man. You got to take care of, you got to keep your house in order. You got to make sure that you're on point. You got to make sure you're taking care of your kids. You got to make sure you're paying your bills. You got to make sure everything is up to par. Well, that's part of it, is dropping your pride and saying, hey, things are slow for me right now. You got any work? To one of your buddies or a few of your buddies who have companies, or putting your resume out, fielding phone calls from companies that need somebody part-time. See, a lot of people say, oh man, I can't find a job nowadays. I can't. No, here's the thing. People are hiring, but people are being very picky with what they want to do. Okay. Or they just don't want to do work. And the minute they don't get their way, like, I quit. Trust me, I know, because I have family and friends and that have positions at companies where they interview and hire people, and it's like a revolving door because nobody wants to work. So it's different. It's not that there aren't jobs out there or opportunities. It's just people, they don't they don't like hard work, and they don't like work in general these days. And I owe that to social media. Social media has made people lazy. Social media has made everybody think that they can go viral and be this internet sensation for whatever it is they're doing. For the podcast, when I started this podcast, I don't know how big this thing is going to get, but I didn't throw all my eggs in one basket and say, I'm going to do this podcast and I'm going to blow this thing up and I'm going to make, money off this and we're going to be on a big platform and blah. No, I just did the podcast because I needed a way to vent, and I needed a way to heal from the stuff that I had gone through in my life and talk about it and then share it with people. And lo and behold, when I started doing that, I started hearing from other people across the world that I've never even heard from, that are going through similar things that I've gone through, that appreciate the stories that I've shared with you guys, that appreciate the honesty, that appreciate me being vulnerable and telling you when I'm not doing so good and when I am doing good. All right. Or having talks like this, trying to encourage you to do whatever it takes to get the job done. It's funny because that intro was from Kobe Bryant, and obviously it was referring to sports, right? And I try to look at everything in my life uh, in a sports aspect, because that's what I do. All right, I coach baseball. I used to coach football. I mentor. Everything about me in my life is sports. So when I coach, I always tell the kids, do whatever it takes. Okay, if you're asked to do something and you don't normally do it because you're willing to do whatever it takes for the team to get the end result we're looking for. Okay. I tell kids all the time, I like to bunt. If you're not someone who likes to bunt and I tap you on the shoulder and I ask you to bunt, do me a favor. Lay the bunt down anyway, whether you like it or not. Okay. Do whatever it takes to get us through this inning, get us that insurance run so we can go into the last inning and our pitcher's not so stressed out because he's got a 1-run lead. Hey, if I go up there and you're in the pitcher's wild and I say, hey, If he throws a wild one and it looks like it's going to hit you in the butt or the back, wear it. But coach, listen, don't but coach. Do whatever it takes. We need runners right now. Okay? I don't want you to get hit in the head. But if it looks like it's going to hit you in the back or the butt or the leg, wear it. Do whatever it takes. That's my mentality with most things in my life. Do whatever it takes in order for you to get the results you need. Within reason. I'm always talking about doing whatever it takes legally. Okay? A lot of people wouldn't share the things that I share on here because they just don't want people to know about their lives. But I'm not that. This is who I am, guys. I'm not going to change that. There are months where my business is cracking. I share it with you guys. I'm flipping furnitures. I'm flipping dressers left and right. I got commission jobs I'm working on, and boom, boom, boom. You see me, you watch me on social media, and I'm cranking them out. And then there are months where I'm like little onesie twosies here and there, and it feels like I'm grinding, and it happens. It happens. But I share all this with you because I want you to understand I'm not above, doing whatever it takes to get my bills paid, to take care of my kids, do all that. And you shouldn't be either. I've had a lot of stuff recently happen. My car broke down on me. My truck. It actually didn't break down. It had an issue that I had to repair. I learned how to repair it, got on YouTube, and then something else happened. The radiator. That was me and my buddy's fault. Putting the car back together, we damaged the radiator. So that cost me money. Then I had to get like my tires were bald in the back. I'm like, rain's coming. I gotta suck it up, go get new tires. So there's money there, money there. And then we got baseball tournaments. We just got back from Missouri not too long ago. We had a tournament in Reno this past weekend. That cost money for travel, gas, food, hotel, all this stuff. It costs money. Just a lot of things. We're going to Vegas in November. Need gas money for that travel. Got to get a rental car and got to pay for a room. That costs money. So there's a lot of stuff coming up that, things just on top of the normal bills. Oh yeah, let me throw some more on you. Taxes are due now. They extended it to, I think it's October 15th. Taxes are due now. So yeah, got to pay your taxes. All of this stuff coming out. Don't even get me started. I had to pay my tags too on my car. All this stuff came in the same, like within the 30, 45 days. Tags on my car. So all of these things are hitting and business is slow. So what am I going to do? The weenie thing, the victim thing, the woe is me thing, lay down on my bed, curl up because life is getting hard. Nah, man, you got to get up, you got to attack it, and you got to say, you know what, man? I got to do whatever it takes to get this done. Drop my pride, I'm going to go do it. That's it. And you do it. That's it. That's what it takes. And I wanted to share that with you guys because I want to encourage you guys to not let these times beat you up, beat you down to the ground. I've got friends who bake for a living. I got friends who have clothing lines. I got friends who do the camera booths for weddings. I got friends who DJ. I got friends who are photographers. I got friends who do all these things, man. And they're not always that busy. Sometimes they slow down. And guess what? They got to go do something else. I got a buddy who flips mountain bikes online right now. Used to work a 9 to 5, but now he flips mountain bikes, like the high price ones, the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and up mountain bikes, because that's what he knows. He knows all about all those things. I don't know about all those things, but who knows? Things may get harder, and I may say, "Hey, yo, I need you to teach me how to flip mountain bikes." Don't know. But I'm not above learning something new. And if you have children, it's important that your kids see that you are not above learning something new. Don't be that old guy. Please don't do that. Don't be that old guy who says, I am what I am. I'm not going to go have somebody teach me something else and me have to work underneath them. Or I'm not going to go have some kid tell me how to this. How, man, you better drop your pride and you better go and learn something new. So if one thing fails, boom, go into your tool belt, pull out the next thing. If that thing fails, you flip to this side of the tool belt and that trade, you do that thing. And if that one fails, you flip to the back side of your tool belt and you try that thing. You have to have multiple hats, multiple tools in that tool belt. You have to. It's important, especially now. So if I can encourage you today, tonight, wherever you're at, do whatever it takes. If you are struggling right now in your business, maybe you work somewhere and it's extremely slow, and maybe you're thinking, damn, a layoff is coming. Reach out to somebody. Find out if there are other ways to make money. Pick up a little trade, pick up something and learn. If you have friends that do other things, pick up the phone and ask them, yo, can I help you? Do you need another hand? I'm willing to learn. Drop your pride. And more importantly, make sure that your kids see you doing that, because they will never forget that. And when they get older and times get rough, because they always get rough, life is not that roller coaster that just goes straight. Okay. There are no roller coasters that just go straight. They have dips, twirls, drops, climbs and climbing up and going down and going corkscrewing. They have all these things. That's a roller coaster. That's life. So when you're dead and gone, and your kids hit that moment in life where things are hard and everything that made sense to them no longer makes sense, they remember, yo, my dad did whatever it took, man. I got to drop my pride. My business is not doing well, or this job that I'm at is not doing well. I got to go hustle. I've taught my kids about furniture. I've taught my kids how to sand, how to paint, how to repair wood and clean up dressers and flip dressers and whatnot. I've taught them how to do that. Okay. Um, I used to do CD duplication. I was teaching my kids how to do that. I taught my kids how to do curb numbers for addresses. Taught my kids how to do that. I have taught my kids a lot of things, and everything that I'm doing is to teach them and to show them. So hopefully one day they don't throw in the towel when things get rough. Instead, they put on their big boy pants, their hard hat, and they say, hey, man, it's time to get to work. Got to go do something else. I hope that helps you. I hope this episode helps you guys. Uh, I know I rambled on. I was going to try and make this short, but hey, man, we're at, I think, 48 minutes right now. It is what it is. That's all I have. I hope you guys are doing well. Please make sure that you are, checking out the website, raymolina.com. Follow me on Instagram. It's Ray Molina. The podcast is The Perfect Mess Pod. The brand is It's Beast or Famine. And my trade shop is Molina's Trade Shop. Now, I also have a TikTok. All those names are also on TikTok. Same names. All right. The only one that's not on there is Molina's Trade Shop, but everything else is on TikTok as well. The YouTube is youtube.com/The Perfect Mess Pod. And if you're there, if you're watching, make sure to hit that subscribe button, the notification bell in the corner, so you get all these updates for any videos and content that I put up, and you get the notifications for those. Please, please subscribe, because I'm trying to grow this thing. If you're on Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever Stitcher, whatever you're listening on, please hit the follow, subscribe, give me a rating, give me a review. I need to hear from you guys. I love to hear from you guys. All right. Other than that, that is all I have. Like I always say, my life isn't perfect. Oftentimes it is a mess, but for me, it is the perfect mess. Peace. I love you.